Hey kids, this is Mr. Kozee with part two of our video. Let's get into it now. Let's talk about z-scores. A z-score is a measure of position, and it helps us to capture how far a piece of data is from the mean. Now, how far a piece of data is from the mean, that's just deviation. That's the piece of data minus the mean. The thing is that if you just look at the deviation, you really don't have a sense of whether or not it's large or not without looking at the other numbers in the set. For example, if all of the numbers in your data are in the millions, then a deviation of 10 is pretty small. But if all of your numbers are in single digits, a deviation of 10 is huge. And so just looking at deviation, you have to compare it to the other numbers in your set to really get a sense of how close to the mean a particular number is or not. And so what we do is we think about things in terms of standard deviations, because remember, the standard deviation is sort of like the average deviation in your data set. And so if by looking at things in those terms, we remove the relative sizes of the numbers as a factor, and that's what a z-score is all about. It also allows us to compare data points from different sets, as we'll see in a moment. So to compute a z-score, it's really easy. You take your piece of data, you subtract the mean of your sample. When you enter this in the calculator, make sure that you put parenthesis around that part of it, and then you divide with the sample standard deviation. Okay, let's look at some examples from the Oscars. The average age of the winner for the Oscar for best actor is 44.4 years old. The average for women is quite a bit younger. It's 36.7, and we can see the two standard deviations right there. Okay, so let's look at these two ages. Jeff Bridges won at age 60 in 2010 for Crazy Heart. Helen Mirren won at age 62 for The Queen. Now these are two different sets of data, but if we convert them into z-score, we can really see where they fall relative to other actors or other actresses. So in your calculator, you take the age of Jeff Bridges minus the mean for all actors, and you divide that with the standard deviation. His z-score is 1.78. You do the same for Helen Mirren, and it's 2.16. So Jeff Bridges winning at age 60, that's closer to the mean for actors than Helen Mirren winning at age 62. Okay. Let's look at a couple of examples. Eddie Redmayne and Brie Larson. He was 33 when he won in 2015, and so you take his age, you subtract the mean, and you divide with the standard deviation, and you get negative 1.3. This is a negative z-score because he is less than the mean. Okay, Brie Larson, age 26. 26 minus the mean for actresses divided with 11.7, we get negative 0.91. So Brie Larson is closer to the average for actresses winning at age 26 than Eddie Redmayne is to the average for actors winning at age 33. Um, we've all kind of had a sense that that Hollywood and popular media in general values different things in men than in women. And this is kind of an example of that in action. It's much less unusual for Brie Larson to win at age 26. It's much closer to the mean for actresses than Eddie Redmayne is at age 33. Okay, and we can actually take this a step farther, because any z-score that's larger than 2 or less than -2, any z-score that's larger than 2 or less than -2 is called unusual. Anything between -2 and 2 is considered not unusual. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean that it's expected or even or common or whatever. These words are chosen very carefully. Unusual means that it's kind of a surprise to see uh, to see it. Okay, anything between -2 and 2 is not unusual. Okay, now in any large enough set of data, you're going to have some scores that you would consider unusual, but you're not going to have most of them, because because they're unusual scores. Okay, so let's go back to our examples. Jeff Bridges winning at age 60, is that unusual or not for actors? Well, his z-score is 1.78. That's not unusual. Helen Mirren, age 62, winning for actresses, that is unusual because this z-score is more than 2. Anything that's more than 2 or less than -2 is unusual. Eddie Redmayne is not unusual. Brie Larson is not unusual. Okay. All right. My friends, that is the end of this video. Um, the the skills that you might want to brush up on, um, again, is just how to get these numbers in and out of the calculator, because this is a skill that we are going to use later on. Okay, I've talked enough for sure, so I'm going to stop here. And I hope that you guys have a great day, and we'll see you hopefully before the end of the year. Bye bye.